Hey guys, Murad here. Welcome back to the channel. So today I wanted to talk to you about the topic of attention spans, boredom, and how new media, particularly short media like shorts and so on, is affecting our attention span and how actually boredom is contributing towards this. Boredom is basically when people are not experiencing any emotion, or they're just being uninterested about a particular topic. And attention is when you are focusing on one particular subject, one particular thing, due to a certain stimuli, while ignoring everything else around it. I think both of them are related to each other. I think we as a society have villainized boredom, and the consequence of that is a shortened attention span. You see, boredom is not necessarily a bad thing. It actually helps people to think about deeper topics. It helps you become more aware and more focused on what really matters. I think one of the issues that have transformed this, or one of the factors that have transformed this, is how businesses started to identify so-called solutions to eliminate boredom, to make you think that what they're doing is actually very good, but in reality, they're killing our attention spans. What's happening is that we are getting used to so much convenience and so much easiness and laziness that the slight wait, or we would get really upset if we don't get the answer right away. Now, with the invention of AI, what's happening is we are programmed to receive answers or to read text really quickly. Now, here's why a lot of people don't really want to embrace boredom in different situations. I think when we are bored, we start really thinking about what matters in our life. That conversation tends to be very uncomfortable. For example, you have nothing to do, you're not looking at your phone, you're not using your computer, whatever that is. Suddenly you start thinking about things that really matter, like your future, or what your plans for the next 5 years, or your health, or your relationships. And all of these are really difficult topics that people really want to avoid. They just don't want to talk about it. And I remember that because a long time ago I used to be a smoker. And every time I would get bored, every time I would don't have anything to do, my mind would start telling me, Murad, this is really horrible. Whatever you're doing is really not good for you. And my way of coping with it was to just bury that idea as quickly as possible by consuming media, listening to music, or just distracting myself. But deep inside, I knew that I was actually right, and I was just constantly distracting myself. And so the issue here is a lot of businesses have capitalized on that idea by constantly distracting you from what really matters, giving you a temporary relief. But deep inside, we all have something that we really want to change, and we are constantly neglecting it. And in that process, we are being distracted by all sorts of media in different formats. And I think the most dangerous one is things like TikToks and shorts and all that kind of stuff. The reason they're very addictive is because they're designed to invoke emotions out of you, which eliminates boredom. Now, if you think about it, one of the reasons why people like to watch all these YouTube shorts, and I don't really like them, I get a lot of them on my WhatsApp, and a lot of my friends send them to me, and I understand that they found something fun or interesting, and then they want to share it with me, but I just find it to be really draining. Basically, what it does is when you watch a lot of shorts, your brain is producing a lot of emotions, your brain is producing, your brain is interacting with the content, it's generating interest, it's eliminating boredom, and it's focusing your attention span. And just like what I told you earlier, this is the relief that social media, shorts, and all these distractors basically provide you. The problem with this is that we are being exposed to so much media on a day-to-day basis. Our brain literally has no time to cope or recover with what's going on. You know, when we go to the gym, we're always told that we need to take some time off just to recover, let our muscles relax and everything. But it's easy for us to do because we feel the pain. It's tangible, you know, you go over your muscles and you're like, you know what, this feels very uncomfortable. But I think mentally speaking, it's very abstract. We don't really get to feel it. We don't get to look at it. It's there, but people do say certain things. Sometimes people say things like, I've been noticing this a lot recently. People say things like, my brain is cooked. Now, this could be due to many reasons, like I'm very tired or I'm exhausted. But I feel like people always use my brain is cooked because they have consumed so much media. They haven't allowed their brain to relax in order to give it some space to organize its thoughts or ideas. We are constantly feeding it media that it is just rejecting thoughts, and it's just being very distorted, very disorganized. So I started to actively actually look for boredom throughout the day, and I've actually learned a lot from it, and I'll share an example with you later. But I just wanted to talk a little bit about YouTube Shorts and everything. You see, the problem with that model of being exposed to so many emotions in a very short span of time is there is no association, no connection between them. By the end of that experience, you'll just feel very tired, very drained, and you'll feel like you haven't really done anything productive at all. Now, I'm not saying that we should eliminate experiences that invoke emotions. As a matter of fact, it's good to engage with that. But there has to be some kind of a context, or there has to be some kind of a structure that has a clear beginning and end. The problem with these shorts and all these videos is they're really invoking so many different emotions within 1 hour. We're feeling, we watch something that is funny, we watch something that is sad, we watch something that is making us afraid. Eventually our brain gets overwhelmed. Now, people do go after experiences because it invokes a particular type of emotion. And the easiest example to think about is watching horror movies. A lot of people like to watch horror movies because it just makes them feel like they're on the edge. They're interacting with that media. They analyze it. They try to read cues. But the difference is a horror movie takes about 1.5 hours or 2 hours. You interact with the characters. You interact with the setting. You build your own analysis. You get to experience different feelings under the same umbrella. After the movie, you think about it, you reflect about it. Maybe you talk about it with a certain number of friends and so on. I think that's the difference. Whereas when we watch YouTube Shorts or TikTok Reels, there's no context. There's nothing really that binds all these videos together. There is just void between them. And by the time we are done watching, we just feel empty because there's nothing to reflect on. And the brain is just constantly distracted from all these topics that really matter to us. But the good news is we can practice being comfortable with boredom. And I know I've been trying to do that. And my first symptom, the first thing I've noticed is when I used to do my postgraduate degree, I remember I used to work on my laptop and I used to have my phone next to me. And one of the things I noticed that really inspired me to change was how hooked I was on my phone, that every time after I read like a number of pages or look at a number of articles, the amount of time my hand would physically reach out to my phone. And that kind of bothered me because it was constantly getting in the way of studying. And so what I started doing is I started putting my phone in another room. And in spite of this, my hand kept reaching out for my phone, even though it wasn't physically there. And nowadays, what I do at work is I purposely leave my phone somewhere in front of my desk. Where I work is pretty secure. It's pretty safe. So I purposely would leave my phone somewhere on my desk, and I would just go out. And I would purposely do this to make myself very uncomfortable. I would just go somewhere, stand with nothing to do. And in the beginning, it used to put me under a lot of pressure because I would see people that are either talking to each other or people that are on their phone, but no one was just standing like me, not doing anything. And it used to make me feel very self-conscious. But I'm very grateful for that experience, simply due to the fact that in these 10 to 15 minutes where I stood by near my office outside, I've learned so much just by observing and listening to my surroundings. I was looking at how people interact with each other, how they were using their body language, their tone of voice to greet each other and to experience a variety of emotions. I've learned and I started to notice how certain people were feeling towards other people as well. I've even started to pay attention to how people walk and how that reflects and how that connects to their facial expressions and so on. All of that happened because I just chose not to distract myself and be observant to my surroundings. And that's pretty much the best advice I could give you out of this video, is you really ought to start observing your surroundings and try to distract yourself less. And if it gets uncomfortable, that's okay. Because it's actually a skill, and the more you practice being uncomfortable, the better you will get at this. And I'm pretty sure at some point you'll be comfortable not doing anything at all. And I think that's just the goal. It's just give your mind a break. Just give it some time off to kind of reflect, organize itself, and you'll feel like you're more focused, you're more in control, rather than just being distracted by media all the time. And I think this is the message that I want to end the video with. When I was a smoker a long time ago, when I wanted to quit, obviously we had withdrawal symptoms and it was very difficult for us to quit. And I remember it was quite hard, but it got easier. And what made it easier is I made a conscious effort to remove all the cigarettes from my house. I would avoid walking in areas where people smoke. I would avoid crowds of people or walking near shops where they would sell cigarettes. I would actually constantly do all of that. And it was very easy because eventually smoking and cigarettes disappeared from my life completely. And I understand that this particular thing is very difficult because we are having this addictive piece of technology. It's like carrying a pack of cigarettes, but we are carrying it with us all the time. And we have to resist not being addicted to it as well. It is so easy to get into that habit. But trust me, once you take a couple of measures, once you start being comfortable, not being around your phone and just going out just for like 10, 15 minutes and choosing not to engage with it, it'll actually be much better. And you'll feel like you're more at peace rather than being constantly hooked to it all the time. So ladies and gentlemen, with that, I would like to end the video now. So it's been quite long actually, almost 15 minutes now. But I really want to talk about this. I'm sorry I haven't uploaded a couple of videos lately. I've been quite busy with work and a lot of things have been going on. But it's, you know what, I got back from work today, it's nighttime, and I said, I have to make something. And if you made it to this far, thank you so much for your support. I've been getting a lot of messages from a lot of people, and it really means a lot to me. And remember, if you'd like to be interviewed or featured in the channel, I'll leave the Gmail address, aciddialoguedungeon@gmail.com, in the description. Please feel free to contact me, and maybe we could collaborate. I'd love to have you here in the channel with me. Please like and share the video if you found it useful. Consider subscribing if you'd like to see more videos like that in the future. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.